Here's what's coming up on Network Africa. Mozambiquans head to the polls as Frelimo party poised to retain power. Kenya's National Assembly backs impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Plus, anger in DRC as recovery of victims of Lake Kivu boat capsize drags on, hundreds still missing. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Welcome again to the program. We start off from the southern part of Africa, and in Mozambique has gone to the polls in a tension-filled exercise which many experts will deliver victory for the ruling Frelimo party, which has been in power since its independence in the year 1975. And Daniel Chapo, Frelimo party favorite to take over from outgoing President Filipe Nyusi, was among the first to cast his vote in his hometown of Nambane as polling stations opened today. Now, after casting his ballot, Chapo addressed the media, expressing his gratitude to his Mozambicans. A leader of the main opposition party and former rebel commander Usufo Momade also cast his vote, all in an attempt to break Frelimo's 49-year hold on power. Now, this election takes place against the backdrop of economic challenges among Mozambique's 35 million people, half of whom are registered to vote. Also, a major concern is insecurity, perpetrated particularly by an Islamist insurgency in the north that has forced thousands to flee their homes and halted multi-billion-dollar gas projects. While Frelimo remains favored to win, Momade's Renamo party hopes to make significant gains. Official results are expected within 2 weeks. We are going back to Zambia, where we reported at least 10 people dead and an unknown number missing after a mine collapsed in central Zambia. Authorities there say rescue operations are going on, and it is not clear exactly how many miners are underground. The collapse occurred in the district of Mumbwa, about 150 kilometers west of the capital, Lusaka. Authorities have not given cause for the collapse. 9 bodies were recovered from the site, and a 10th person died in a hospital, while 5 injured persons are being treated in hospital as well. According to a government minister and the local member of parliament, Collins Nzovo, 20 miners are missing and feared dead, although the police didn't confirm that number. So joining us now from Zambia is VOA correspondent Kathy Short. Hello, Kathy. What more can you tell us about the... Yes, great to have you. What more can you tell us about the recovery efforts at the site of the mine collapse, in Zambia?
Recovery efforts have continued, with authorities saying 20 people are feared dead. And as you rightly said, it's not very clear because the police has not mentioned the 20 people being dead. They've only confirmed 10 people being dead. And 1 person was injured and, is being attended to at a nearby hospital in the area.
All right, so have the authorities released any statements so far about why the mine actually collapsed in the first place at this moment in time?
What we have been told by the area member of parliament, Collins Nzovo, is that there were safety concerns at the mine, and it was initially shut down, but no one knows why it was reopened just a few days ago. And the minister actually described it as a very dangerous place for workers to operate in because it lacked the safety measures that are supposed to be at a mining area.
All right, indeed, talking about security, which is quite an important issue, especially when it comes to occupations such as mining. Kathy, do we have more clarity on how many people were involved in this incident?
It's still not very clear. The area member of parliament or the lawmaker says 70 people were registered to have gone into the mine for work, and 20 are still unaccounted for. 50 people have been accounted for so far, and 4 people have been discharged from hospital. 1 person died, and the other 2 are in a stable condition. So not so much information is known about it, because there are still some conflicting reports from the police as well as the local authorities. And I must say that just a while ago, President Hakainde Hichilema, who is Zambia's president, voiced concern over this tragedy, because it's been there have been several incidents like this, because Zambia is Africa's top copper producer. So many illegal miners that have been mining without proper licenses and proper equipment. And also just from the state media, we've been able to note that the area that was being mined really lacked all those equipment, proper mining equipment. You could just see a lot of earth, without proper, machines being used. So it was just like, a bush somehow. So you could see that there wasn't much really in terms of safety standards.
Now, of course, you've talked about this incident was one tragedy too many in Zambia, but one wonders, why does this keep recurring? Why do you think government has not been able to nip this issue in the bud in Zambia, really?
I think it's also in terms of inspections and checking the safety of these mines, because there are so many mines. Zambia is not only rich in copper deposits, but has cobalt, nickel, and other minerals. Even gold in this instance at the Wilili mines. So you can see that there are lots of minerals, and people are trying to make some quick money without really proper channels. I've had people that I know, just going there without any prior experiences in mining and just rushing to go and make some quick money. So this has resulted in fatalities, and it happens several times. Just a month ago, 9 people lost their lives. Just in December last month, 35 illegal miners, were buried alive in Chingola, in Zambia's mineral-rich Copperbelt province. So really, they are not following the standards, and the government also doesn't have enough inspectors to ensure that safety standards are adhered to.
Well, I'll still take you on what government is actually saying about this incident. But before that, can you just tell us about the condition of those who have already been taken to the hospital? 5, I believe, and have others joined them even as we speak?
No one has been recovered yet. And rescue operations are still ongoing at the mine. We have been told by hospital authorities that 2 people are in a stable condition, 4 people were discharged. So it seems like things are getting much better for those that have been rescued, those that have been lucky enough to be alive. And I saw one man that was rescued. He was saying that they were busy working and someone alerted them that, they were going to die, and they quickly had to run for cover. And he was one of the lucky few. And you could see that he seemed okay, and he seemed to be getting the necessary medical attention. But for those that have not been accounted for, the chances really of finding them alive as time goes on remains very, very slim.
Indeed, must be quite an overwhelming experience, particularly for the authorities. Kathy, what the government, I'm sure it will be having to deal with some backlash or certain backlash concerning this tragedy, but what are they saying about the activities, around the mine at this time?
The minister, who is the area member of parliament, said that the mine continued to mine despite, the safety concerns that I talked about. So it's not very clear who allowed the mine to continue operating. So he actually seemed very, very upset about the incident. And there was also an incident of the local chief in the area who was visibly annoyed So most of the times when such things happen and illegal miners are allowed to work, you find that there could have been corruption. I can't confirm that because I haven't spoken to authorities yet, but those are some of the issues that happen, that maybe, someone is allowed to mine without proper mechanisms and proper safety standards in place. So investigations are still ongoing and we are waiting for official confirmation. But clearly, the minister was visibly annoyed, saying the mine shouldn't have been operating, but we are yet to know who gave authority for the mine to continue operating.
Kathy, thank you so much for your situation update on the situation there as far as the mine collapse is concerned. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's move on now. In the case of the embattled Deputy President of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, accused of corruption, 281 MPs voted to impeach, 44 voted in his favor, and 1 abstained. There was a bout of jubilation as the results were announced. However, for the impeachment to be final, 2/3 of the Senate must vote against him. It is not known yet when that vote will take place. If the Senate backs the motion, Mr. Gachagua would become the first deputy president to be impeached since the new constitution was adopted in 2010. The deputy president has been accused of supporting the violent anti-government protests in June and of being involved in corruption and other irregularities. He defended his wealth acquisition earlier in the week, claiming some of the properties listed in the impeachment motion belonged to his late brother. He also defended renovation expenditures for his official residence, saying it was in a state of disrepair and needed to be dignified. We're in the DRC now, where residents there are still reeling from the loss of loved ones in the boat accident on Lake Kivu. Other recovery efforts are continuing, but then dozens wait in agony for closure at the port of Kituku, a few hundred meters from where the boat sank. Red Cross and police teams have been patrolling the lake for more bodies, but without success. Frustrated family members are already accusing the authorities of not properly facilitating divers to do their job. At least 33 bodies have been recovered so far, and 1 diver died during a salvage operation. Authorities estimate over 70 people died in the disaster. Now, the ferry was traveling from Minova in South Kivu province when it sank near Goma, the capital of North Kivu province, on October the 3rd. People traveling between the two provinces have increasingly turned to water transportation as roads have been made unsafe by militia and rebel attacks. The United Nations mission in South Sudan has sponsored a meeting for women from feuding communities to have coffee together while they harness their power to mediate a way out of conflict. Under an ancient mango tree, the unique smell of freshly brewed coffee definitely catches the attention of everyone around, but it does so alongside the rhythms of local music and sounds of hundreds of women singing, dancing, and even rejoicing throughout the rainy sky sunset in Tambura in South Sudan's western equatorial state. This peaceful get-together has been happening since the last few months in the year 2021, but no one, or we're not in one, continues sitting. Well, these women from several ethnic groups get together once a week to enjoy their coffee. In news about Sudan, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs is expressing concerns about the situation in the capital of North Darfur, El Fasher, where there are reports of continued clashes posing a risk to hundreds of thousands of civilians who remain in the area. The UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric was addressing a press conference about the UN's fear that famine conditions have spread to several areas of Sudan. According to the International Organization for Migration, the IOM, in the first few days of October alone, fighting displaced tens of thousands of people. This includes in North Darfur, West Darfur, and Sennar states, where airstrikes, clashes between rival forces, and insecurity in their villages and markets have displaced as many as 42,000 people, both within Sudan and across the borders.
Turning to Sudan, another grave humanitarian crisis. Our colleagues at OCHA tell us they're deeply concerned about the worrying situation in the capital of North Darfur, El Fasher, where we are seeing reports of continued clashes posing a risk to hundreds of thousands of civilians who remain in the area. And as you know, famine conditions are already been confirmed in the Zamzam camp for displaced people, which is just outside of El Fasher, and we assume that we think that other camps in the area also are likely to have famine conditions. Our colleagues in Sudan are closely following the developments and continue to advocate for an immediate stop to the fighting and for the protection of civilians and humanitarian access of both supplies and personnel throughout the country. And since in the first few days of October alone, tens of thousands of people have been displaced across Sudan due to the fighting. This includes in North Darfur, West Darfur, and Sennar states, where airstrikes, clashes between rival forces, and insecurity near villages and markets have displaced as many as 42,000 people, both within Sudan and across borders. That is what the International Organization for Migration is telling us. We're also closely monitoring the cholera outbreak in Sudan. As of Saturday, 21,000 cases of cholera had been reported in the past 2 months, including more than 600 fatalities from cholera. That's what WHO and Sudan's Ministry of Health are telling us. Over the weekend, however, UNICEF was able to charter a plane which carried 1.4 million doses of oral cholera vaccine. That plane arrived in Port Sudan to bolster the response, which aims to vaccinate more than 1.8 million people in the most affected areas, which are Gedaref, Kassala, and River Nile State.
Welcome back. Now, the UNICEF representative in Sudan, Sheldon Yates, is making a case for children who he feels are the victims in the conflict. Mr. Yates spoke about the effects of armed violence on children as schools and health centers are being hit. He also discussed the steps UNICEF is taking to stop infectious diseases from spreading and the impediments humanitarians face in reaching those in need.
The fighting in Darfur is ferocious, intense, and affecting children in every corner of the Darfurs, and in fact, every corner of the country. Since April or so, we've had some 150 children at least killed. There are many, many, many injured. Kids, of course, kids didn't start this war. They are not the ones who are really fighting this war. They're not responsible for this war, but they are the victims.
Back in Nigeria, the Lagos state government has charged the youth to take ownership of their environment as co-creators of the future cities. The secretary to the state government, Abimbola Saluhunde, made this comment during the commemoration of the year 2024 World Habitat Day at the Adeyemi Borough Auditorium, Alausa in Ikeja. The SSG, who represented Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at the event, calls on stakeholders to prioritize creating an environment where the youth can reach their full potential.
Senior Lagos State government officials, youths, students, and other stakeholders in the built and environment sector converge on Adeyemi Borough Hall, Alausa Ikeja, for the 2024 World Habitat Day. This year's theme, Engaging Youth to Create a Better Urban Future, highlights the vital role young people play in shaping resilience in a sustainable urban space.
Judging by the fact that the future belongs to our youth. In other words, our youth are our future. And so, we must do everything we can to bequeath a sustainable urban environment to and for them through conscious, well-articulated, and coordinated environmental planning efforts. As urban planners, consultants, and professionals, we must ensure that young people are not only included in the conversation but are empowered to lead the charge The solution to the challenges of rapid urbanization, environmental degradation, and climate change lies in the hands of this generation by providing them with the tools, knowledge, and opportunity to lead.
Some of the students speak on how to combat social vices and build sustainable cities.
Building sustainable city requires an holistic approach that incorporates environmental, social, and economic consideration.
The community can also help in combating social vices. We should promote social protection. We should strengthen law and enforcement. And we should also promote environmental sustainability.
The State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development appeals to property owners to take advantage of the amnesty window on building permit to acquire all necessary approvals for their property.
I also reiterate the Goshen's aspiration of the ongoing amnesty to completed structures without building permits. I urge all residents of the state to take advantage of this opportunity while it lasts till the end of October.
For the SSG, the youth are the driving force behind the growth and innovation that define Lagos and must be supported to achieve their dreams.
Our youth, who make up approximately 70% of Nigeria's population and naturally have the largest of based people in Lagos State, are the driving force behind the growth and innovation that define this vibrant city.
The state government says it will continue to incorporate the youths into its program to achieve the Lagos New Urban Agenda and Sustainable Development Goal 11, making cities and urban settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable.
And still in Lagos, the state government has stressed the need for collective efforts to win the battle against the rising cost of food items as well as hunger in the state and the country as a whole. Now, the State Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Systems, Abisola Olusoya, stated this during the sensitization walk in commemoration of this year's World Food Day. Ahead of the 2024 World Day celebration, the Lagos State Ministry of Agriculture and Food Systems is engaging some of the stakeholders in the agriculture sector ahead of some of the activities lined up for the event, coming up on October the 16th.
The program is being implemented currently in 7 schools.
The Commissioner in charge, Abisola Olusoya, reels out the significance of the day, which is a call to action against food insecurity.
This year's edition, with the theme, Right to Foods for a Better Life and a Better Future, seeks to address serious food security issues currently being experienced globally.
It is also an opportunity to inform the public about the critical steps taken to achieve food security in the state.
Currently, work is at advanced stages to deliver the Phase 1 of the Lagos Central Food Security System and Logistics Hub at Ketu-Ereimekpe, hopefully by December of this year, whilst efforts are simultaneously ongoing in the build of 3 additional mid-level hubs, similar to what we have at Mushin, one at Abijo, another at Dairy Farm in Agege, and the third at Oregon in Ikeja.
Still, with the theme of food security, the state government believes the establishment of the 32 tons per hour Lagos rice mill at Imota in Ikorodu, producing 2.4 million bags of rice annually, is another giant stride.
Our effort towards the festive period, which is towards December, is to ensure that we have head rice, we have paddy, brown rice, to be able to produce for that period so that we can affect the overall cost that is going to be in the market.
Away from the briefing, the State Ministry of Agriculture and Food Systems took to the street of Alausai in Ikeja to create awareness on urban farming in commemoration of this year's World Food Day. Moving all the way from Allen Junction with the wheel food basket, with others walking along with different placards about farming for a sustainable future.
We need to start to grow what we eat, and aside that, we need to start to celebrate our farmers, our food actors, our market men and women. This trade is not for the illiterate. It is not for the downtrodden. It is for each and every one of us. If you go abroad, you see multi-billionaires in farming. You see them in the food space. So here in Nigeria, we need to start to change that narrative.
Some of the partners say they are ready to support the state government's drive to boost food production.
We believe in what Lagos State is doing in terms of understanding that food is not something that is just plant and eat. There's a lot that goes on from origination to when it gets to the table. And for that, we're always happy to support and engage with stakeholders who are willing.
We believe that if we sow a seed for the farmers today, tomorrow we will be able to sustain and multiply that across board. So we encourage everybody to support Lagos State to ensure that we take farmers to the next level and we become self-sufficient. We shouldn't be importing any food.
The World Food Day is celebrated on October the 16th every year to call global attention to the challenges affecting the accessibility of food. Meanwhile, the Lagos State government is also calling on citizens and private bodies to embrace farming in their own little space in order to reduce food shortage in the country. And that's Network Africa. Thank you for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde.